Crown TV, and Millennium TV. We welcome you all to this extraordinary press briefing. Those that are joining us via Facebook and those that are here, please, let's be attentive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, members of the press, countrymen and women of our great Republic of Zambia. Good afternoon. I would just want to sincerely apologize that we were supposed to start exactly at 14 hours, but due to some technical situations from some of our colleagues in the media that are supposed to carry live this press briefing. Once more, good afternoon, members of the press. I hope you are all fine. I know we have not interacted in a while, but I'm glad we are meeting this afternoon. I called for this press briefing to address a number of important national issues. As you are all aware, parliamentarians have resumed their duties in the National Assembly. As leader of the opposition in the Parliament, I welcome my fellow parliamentarians to another momentous gathering of men and women as we carry our shoulders the aspirations of the Zambian people we represent, dotted in various constituencies across our great country. As a proud legislator from Mafinga constituency in Chabinga province, I hope and remain optimistic that the parliamentary debates will remain informative, constructive, and done in a manner that will preserve the decorum of the House. It is my hope that we, the opposition, and the United Party for National Development government, the UPND, work together and discuss of national development in a way that will preserve the decorum of the House. It is not pleasing to me as leader of opposition to see the people I am superintending over being punished or asked to leave the House on issues we could easily resolve. I'll repeat this with emphasis that it is not pleasing to me as leader of the opposition to see people I am superintending over being punished and asked to leave the House on the issues we could easily resolve. Members of the press, you will recall before we adjourned the Synod last year that a good number of the parliamentarians were suspended, and that at that particular time my heart bled, because the reason was very simple. We should not have a situation as parliamentarians to get instructions to the people that are outside Parliament to come and cause confusion in the House. My fellow parliamentarians, you must know that our core value is to represent the people of this great country, Zambia. Thank you.
It's not holding. Oh no, it's weak.
Why is it weak? Has it come from Wuka? Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible enough. Am I audible? So as I was saying, it is not pleasing, I'll repeat this statement with emphasis, because we have the people that we are representing that we need to make sure that our representation as parliamentarians are adhered to. Members of the press, I wish to place on record the need for our country to continue fine-tuning our supreme law of the land, the Constitution, and make it more responsive to the needs and the aspirations of Zambians. As you are all aware, during the official opening of the third session of the 13th National Assembly on 8th of September 2023, His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema, President of the Republic of Zambia, proposed amendments to both the Constitution, Chapter 1 of the Laws of Zambia, and the Constituency Development Fund, Act number 11 of 2018. The aim of amending the CDF Act is to include members of Parliament in the CDF Development Fund committees, as they are key stakeholders, and fine-tune the bottlenecks currently faced in the implementation. Members of the press, ladies and gentlemen, you may wish to note that on 14th September 2023, the Clerk of the National Assembly wrote to members of Parliament requesting them to submit proposed amendments on non-contentious articles of the Constitution. Further, on the 20th November 2023, the Minister of Information and Media, Honorable Cornelius Mwetwa, announced some of the proposed non-contentious issues by the members of Parliament as follows. Number 1, retention of members of Parliament to the local authority or councils so that they participate in the decisions making of councils, particularly on the land delimitation. Number 2, in light of the expanded CDF, members of Parliament should be in the forefront of determining power toward the utilization of CDF. As the name suggests. Number 3, that such a clause in the Constitution should include the limitation of vast constituencies that have been difficulty administratively for a single member of Parliament. And on this one, I can even elaborate more. One of such a constituency is Mafinga itself, where if I have gone on the northern part of the constituency, the southern part of the constituency, they won't know I was in the constituency, because it's far from the last polling station of Katanga, which is my village, to the last polling station in Musipi's ward in Mpangala. It is 165 kilometers. So if I go the other side, then the people on the other side won't know. So that is good. That's just an example. We have Kasempa, which is a bigger constituency, to just mention a few. The fourth point is that the Emolument Commission should be repealed, as it is administration interferes with the autonomy of the legislature and the judiciary, or it should be amended to only apply to officers in the executive. members of the press, from the time immemorial, conditions of service of legislators have been determined by the Standing Orders Committee in consultation with the executive in order to have uniformity of benefits with other constitutional office holders. Let me hasten to say that this should be expeditiously dealt with to address perceived gaps impacting the country's governance vis-a-vis separation of powers. Among the proposed constitutional reforms of note is Article 52(6), which is viewed as potentially an electoral crisis in waiting. Article 52(6), which is viewed as a potentially an electoral crisis in waiting. Article 52(6) of the Constitution of Zambia allows the Electoral Commission of Zambia to cancel an election in the event of a candidate's resignation, disqualification, or death. If left unchecked, the act has potential to harm our democratic credentials. This one, I'll give you a practical example. I don't like giving examples on other people. I personally, in 2021, had to file in nominations twice. I filed the first one. Along the way, one gentleman was paid. When he was paid, he withdrew. I'll come and talk about it because people wanted to change me as a candidate. That was the motive. But the only thing that they discovered that I was too strong on the ground. Very, very strong on the ground. Therefore, they couldn't. I did it twice. And another example, if you recall, it was Mandevu. The other one was Lusaka Central. By then, from my sister, Honorable Margaret Monokatwe. And the other one was Chawama, where Honorable Tasila Lungu is. These constituencies, we did twice nominations. And this is what I'm referring to. This is because it is left open to manipulation and abuse by political actors, thereby introducing uncertainty into the electoral system, especially at the presidential and parliamentary levels. It is also potentially triggers unwarranted wastage of government resources. Members of the press, allow me to also address something of concern to both the Patriotic Front Party and general citizenry on the destructive path that the former head of state, Mr. Edgar Chagbalungu, has taken in the recent past. But before I proceed on this trajectory, let me take this opportunity to remind you, members of the press, to correctly, I repeat, to correctly report the status quo on the PF. The records will show and are there that there is no PF factions. You medias are fond of misleading the nation. There is only one Patriotic Front Party, only one, which is led by President Honorable Miles Sampa. As President, Mr. Morgan Ingona as Secretary General, and I, Robert Chabinga, as the leader of opposition. You go outside every day. Wait, we have never taken anybody to court. Instead, our colleagues have taken us to court. We teach a lesson to one media institution by citing them for contempt. This I'm very serious. That Honorable Mundu is leader of opposition. Which faction? You don't have the records. No, Honorable Nakashinda is the Secretary General. You don't have the records. From today's 4th, Immediately I finish this press conference, I'm not interfering. Any reporting, we shall follow you. I'm very serious. We shall follow you. And the same people that you are reporting as the Rafael Nakajinda Secretary General, we shall report them for impersonation. Even my elder brother, Honorable Brani Mondobile, is an ordinary member of parliament and Imporokoso member of parliament. I am leader of the opposition. Effective 1st of November 2023. You people are covering. I think when we teach one lesson to a media, we are not threatening. I'm just trying to advise, because you must be informing the people correctly, because people now are getting confused. We go at a forum, Honorable Munduwe is seated, is regarded as leader of opposition. I'm seated, I'm regarded as no ways. I'm the only one in charge. Till that time, now I am leader of opposition. That day will come. That day is not today. Today I'm the leader of opposition. Getting back to the issue of the former head of state, I wish Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, my president, in whom I trusted. I think some of you remember that I was able to die for this man. If you recall, he was about to be impeached in parliament there, who included even his own members of parliament and some of the ministers. The man would have been impeached. I stopped the impeachment motion, which was raised by my elder brother, Honorable Gary Nkombo, and Honorable Chibaka Mbwiri, and I'm wishing my older brother, Mr. Chibaka Mbwiri, a quick recovery, wherever he is. I had to hold on to the case in court. I was not paid, not even a single penny. I paid for legal fees from my personal family money, family resources, till 2021. I want to tell you, if people, you people, when you find them talking that I'm a traitor, I'm not a treacherous guy. I'm a very loyal person. And that's why I'm addressing him like this, because my heart bleeds. If I see my president in whom I believed in so much, people are not happy with him. Only few disgruntled people that are surrounding him, and the people are following him and clapping, and he thinks that he is very popular. I wish my president, Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu, had stayed away from active politics and focus on uniting this country. His active engagement in politics is undermining the respect which should be accorded to a former president as a father of the nation. As you are aware and have seen on some platforms, the former president is now disrespected by anyone because of the stance he has taken to rejoin active politics. Is it because he is in denial that he made us lose as PF, losing power by over 1 million votes in 2021? Does he think he can really return back to power? Mr. President, sit down. My president, do you think really you can return back to power? Who is advising my president? Mr. Edgar Chagwalungu. Who is advising him? They are really advising him very, very wrongly. Na papa maningi, Mr. President, stay away from these politics, because I can see that it is just the beginning of embarrassment. More embarrassments are coming. My president, President Edgar Chagwalungu, the former president, left the country with above 22% inflation. 22% of inflation. High corruption levels. Illegal mukula logs exported. And we watched in Akimbo when his cadres caused terror among others. You remember very well. There were some youths that, because they wanted to protect the country, they tried to impound the truck. This is on record of Mukura 3 in Shimagala. These boys were arrested and detained, and they were given aggravated robbery. You recall? These are the boys, innocent boys, that wanted to say enough is enough. They wanted to do the citizenry. They were arrested. One of them is Veni Kabamba. Another one is Augustine Mukuka. Just to mention a few. These boys were locked up. Sir, it was under your government, under your watch, where PF thugs walked into police stations and beat up police officers, including urinating in the mouth of one of you, a journalist. This is where we are coming from. This is in public domain. And you all recall. Then when he comes back, we start clapping. You journalists, should you go back to be urinated? I'm telling you, you'll be urinated more in your mouths. And these police officers will be beaten more at that police station to say I'm officer in charge. They'll be beaten. So, especially journalists, be very careful. You can imagine with somebody with the real thinking reaching at a point of urinating in someone's mouth, and he goes scot-free, and the country is watching. Come on. Is that the country that we want to go back to? No, Mr. President. Edgar Chagwalungu, no. It was under your leadership, President Edgar Chagwalungu. It's good that even today, as I'm addressing this, you were at the church. I wish you were at the church somewhere along Munali Road. You went to worship. I wish you could even repent. I'll pause a little bit. We lost a lot of lives. I can do a moment of silence in honor of the people that died in the rain from 2015 to 2021. May their souls rest in eternal peace. Your Excellency, President Edgar Chagwalungu, it was under your leadership when we lost an innocent prosecutor who just went to go and have a meal, Mr. Sama. He was shot. Lawrence Banda, because of politics, he was shot. Mapenzi Chivulo, Vespers, Frank Mugala, Kennedy Mudenda, Obed Bwalia, and many others killed by your agents, and you never said anything as head of state. Who has the task to protect all the citizens of this republic? The gassing. You members of the press, you are covering the gassing. Where has it gone? Where has it vanished? I remember very well, in my village, in Muyombe, at Muyombe Center, two gentlemen, innocent gentlemen, they were on the motorbike because they went to buy finger billets on the motorbike. They were perceived that they were gassers, and they were stoned to death. Killed during the day, that they were gassers. And even up to now, as a parliamentarian, I've been wanting to know behind the gassing. Yes, no arrest could have not been made because the gassers were part of the government machinery, and that's why they destroyed evidence. That's why no arrests have been made. Should you go back to create issues of gassing? Innocent school children being gassed? So if you are passing at your school, you go and pick up your child, and maybe fuel has finished, you have a container, then you become a gasser and people kill you. Is that the country that you want to go back to? My advice to you, President Edgar Chagwarungu, is that introspect and become the father of the nation. An honor you rightly deserve. It's not too late. The time is now. Members of the press, as you all are aware, some of our PF members have taken us to court at the instigation of the former head of state. They are claiming that we did not legitimately hold a convention to elect President Miles Sampa. That I'll leave to the determination of the courts. Ironically, if you were there during the events that characterized the PF in the aftermath of President Michael Sata's death in 2014, you will remember how people voted amid threats, pangas or machetes wielding cadres. The delegates at the convention voted President Lungu by the show of hands. By the show of hands, instead of a secret ballot, as the PF constitution required. Many of the presidential candidates were threatened, and some were even stopped from entering Mulungushi Local Authority, the venue of the convention. People like Emmanuel Chenda, Honorable Given Lubinda, and my party president now for the PF, legitimately so, Honorable Miles Sampa, was also blocked. Among others were threatened and barred from attending the PF convention by Mr. Lungu's alleged supporters. What shocks me is that people like the Honorable Given Lubinda was blocked by that time. In 2021, we had a convention, you all recall, prior to 2021 general elections. People paid money even to be members of Central Committee and the President. People paid. They were also blocked. And Honorable was part of being blocked. People paid the money, and it was only like a small little committee that chose when people paid a lot of money in 2021. I don't know whether you people, you can call that was a convention in 2021, because it was supposed to be people in all the provinces to vote and gather. The only thing, as the people were candidates, the only thing they said, no, there was a team that was sitting down to come up with the names of people. And it ended. The following are the names of people and the members of Central Committee. And it was done and dusted. And the people are clapping. Fast forward to where we are today. Our legitimacy as leaders of PF now is under the spotlight, in which some of the leaders are asking questions through legal means, as they have gone to court. Firstly, most of those seeking the presidency of the PF legitimately declared their intentions and paid the 200,000 kwachas nomination fees for pay individuals. And one of them was Honorable Brian Mundubile, Dr. Chitaruchi Rufia, and the others. Him himself, President Galungu, said, I'm putting my weight on Honorable Mondubile. And the people started campaigning. You are journalists. This is Republic domain. Ask Brian Hapunda, who was going out to socialists. Ask him. When they were in the meetings, that was the story. Ask Honorable Davis Chana. When they got the mushroom from somewhere. No, Your Excellency, you can't. Because they believe in eating. They want to eat. Every time is eating. They cannot do things on their own. They believe in eating. They are even getting fat because of lies. And you know, when you don't work for the food, you get too much fat because you'll be eating carelessly because you don't know where the food is coming from. When you are the one working for the food, you manage your eating because you know that tomorrow you might not have it. The money, I want to confirm to you that the 200,000 they paid, it has already been misused by the former leaders of which party. This is the given leaders team. They chewed the whole money. We even contributed to other monies that we are supposed to go for the Constitutional Conference to amend our PF Constitution. We contributed as members of parliament 3,000 kwachas. Also they ate. Now they are busy. They have asked some aligned members of parliament to say withdraw the contribution to the party PF, start contributing to us. So they want the members of parliament to start contributing to us. Hey, Bwana, I want to advise my fellow members of parliament. PF is a club, and you are in parliament as PF. If you don't subscribe to the party, we will liaise with Secretary General. You members of the press, you are here, you announce, we shall expel. We shall expel. The party is the club, and the owners of the club make the rules. At the moment, Miles Sampa is in charge of the club. Ngona is in charge of the club. I'm the leader of opposition. Very simple. I'm not part and parcel of the running of the affairs of the party, but I will yes, because you need to contribute for the affairs of the party. So you cannot be contributing. Imagine they're contributing outside. They are even eating. You can imagine. Sometimes I wonder. Sometimes I start thinking, really, do we really represent our people very well as parliamentarians, where the people that are lying to my fellow, especially, let me take this opportunity, to my fellow first-timers, brothers, your friends chew the money. Your friends have houses. Your friends have hidden money abroad. You have nothing. Hey, Miles Sampa will just deal with you, and it will be done and dusted. Nishukwamana. You will be in the court, and you combine the two things. In the afternoon you are in parliament, in the morning you are in court. The brain does not work properly. Over the weekend you need to be in the constituency. It will be tough, my brother. Think, sit down. This is just a brotherly advice from your leader of opposition. However, I'm extending the olive branch. All those members of parliament who have not still believed that I'm leader of opposition, please come work together. We have a duty to work for our people and represent our people in parliament according to what they voted us for. These eminent men and women even went into the campaign drive across the country, the Mundubiles, soliciting for votes from members of the party, Ichipani. However, we just saw the dramatic re-entry of the former head of state into the political fray after we had already elected Mr. Miles Sampa as our president. The same people were Nyunyad in 2014. The same people were Nyunyad, were dribbled in 2021. They were told, no, I have resigned from active politics. We are waiting for the convention. The convention that was being waited for was this coming back of my president. Just excuse me. Mr. Miles Sampa, the president of the PF, refused to be dribbled for the second time. He said enough is enough. So people should not complain. Even when they have gone to court, they didn't want to go to the convention, because you saw yourselves on the 28th at the memorial, at the embassy park, during the memorial of the late President Michael Chilifya-Sata, when President Lungu returned. There are some people who are supposed to be president who are busy behind the clapping. Welcome back. What kind of leaders do you have? Are those the leaders that you can trust? Really? Who are cowards? Who have no stamina? Who cannot stand on their own? Even me, because I was not born a coward, I cannot. I have an independent mind. I don't follow blindly. And that's why, believe you me, I never believed in Miles Sampa. I never believed in him. But when I saw to say, okay, at this particular time we can save the situation, because I was amongst the person to say, when President Lungu comes in, you will be expelled. I said, we need to hammer before we are hammered. And we hammered them. Technical knockout. It is done and dusted. I leave it to the court. We'll be just dancing in courts. Dancing. The same way we were dancing in 2015. By the way, maybe you media, you didn't know. I worked with President Lungu on mingalato in 2014. That time I was against Miles Sampa. So when I looked, I said, oh, the people that I helped, they wanted also to dribble me, and they wanted to continue, then I should be clapping, you know. Me personally, I supported Brian Munduvile. If you go on my constituents and ask my party officials, they will tell you that I told them we need to go with Brian Munduvile as an alternative. Only to discover that we were supporting a coward. You media, I know I've read the section of people to say, no, the leader of opposition does not talk in parliament. No, the leader of the opposition is not talking. Have you ever seen me on social media? Have you ever said, as we talk when it matters? You don't expect me as a leader of opposition. There is a question for oral answer on a bridge which has been washed away in a certain corner of my finger, and then that's why the leader of opposition should be talking. No, we need to be talking about national character. We need to talk about issues that are affecting the people of the Republic of Zambia. Mr. Lungu should be reminded that history has a tendency of repeating itself. Hapapeve is now him crying for the PF president, which is already gone. Thank God, Bamba no panga manje kakani ukwa aka. Wish them well with the aka or ukwa. But they should not lose. They should not use the name of the PF. Any media that will come and report it to say, no, president of the PF, what, will come for you. The people that will be reporting for will be innocent. And actually, we even start winding you up for liquidation. Then you learn. And I'm a specialist for that. You know. I'm not threatening. It's an advice. Like it was in 2014, except there was no threats. The convention that we had with Miles Sampa, there were no pangas this time, and it was done in a very smooth and tranquility manner. You watched for yourselves. We did not do it in the dark corner. Prime TV covered it, you yourselves covered it live, and the people voted, and I was the first person to cast a vote. It is there. We were not raising hands like it was in Kamo. In Kamo, what used to happen is that if they say no, Mr. Chabinga, a friend will come in my name and say, oh, you were Sorako, Robert Chabinga, the friend, wow. That's what was in Kamo. Ask Honorable Suvia Masema. Honorable Suvia Masema was chairperson elections as a woman. She came under the escort of heavy presence of police. Is that the convention that we need? No ways. On the UKA Alliance, the grouping has been hatched by opportunists and the chances for self and personal interest only, which can best be described as an assemblage of power-hungry individuals seeking to come and completely empty the national treasury, having turned this country into a looter's paradise during the 7-year rule of President Edgar Chagwa Lungu. For others, this futile exercise is driven by thought that they would be cleansed of their corruption and tainted image, since their lives and that of their immediate families are subjects of the courts of law. State House now has become respected. During that time, you could, all the dues, you need to be connected to, you need to go to State House, cutting a deal. Every deal, you need to go to State House to cut a deal. I'm leader of opposition. Thanks, President Hakainde Chilema, because you have separated the transaction that has to be happening in the ministries. At least, if the corruption is happening in the ministries, it is easier to investigate than when the corruption is being done at the State House. You are depriving the powers of the security wings, investigative wings. They can't work freely. I am optimistic that the courts will expedite these cases in line with the new Dawn administration's pledge to formulate laws and policies that will ensure shortened legal processes in dealing with the corrupt cases. That's why we amended some bills. One of them is the subordinates bill, that matters must be expedited within 5 months. I'm sure that's why they are panicking. You know, you can just see from the blues, people are panicking after the rule has been accepted. People now are panicking, now they're all over. You saw last week a team was heading to Wapura province, to Mwata Kazembe, and they were even lying. Even you are busy writing as journalists that they were invited by Mwata Kazembe. Mwata Kazembe never invited anybody. The area member from Sarongwe, Honorable Kampampi, is the one who made an appointment on behalf of the MPs. But you see, the chief regards everybody as their children. And that's why they look at the team that went there. Look at them start checking one of them. The only thing that the people, that some of them were genuine, they were just following blindly because they are cowards, because they were threatened. Otherwise, it was a prearranged things, and it was sponsored. We are dealing with the school fees. Where did my colleagues, members of parliament, who had not almost opened the parliament, where did they get money for fuel? It was facilitated by some people. As I speak, they are returning to Eastern Province. The Eastern Province. You saw it yesterday in the social media. They were busy paying courtesy scores. Look at them, check on them. Who are these characters? They're just bunches of crooks, criminals. They have been calling me in the sides to say, excuse me, that we are criminals. I don't even have a single criminal case and record. Not even a single. Others have cases. I can start naming them one by one. Honorable Given Rubinda, being in possession of more than one passport, who was Justice Minister. You will be in court. Trial will be on the 22nd February 2024. Rafael Makachinda, defamation of the president. That is the first case he has. The second one, disobedience to statutory duty, cause number 126, as read with section 18(1)(b) and F of the Electoral Commission of Zambia Act number 25. He has been summoned to appear before anti-fraud on the 15th. It's in public domain. We are not dreaming. If you go to police headquarters, they'll give you the records. Mr. Emmanuel Mwamba, seditious practice. The matter is being considered. Publication of information. I can go on and on and on and on. You will never find the Chabinga on this list. It is in the public domain. When they are saying us we are crooks. Which crooks? The stolen resources denied many children an opportunity to be in class while the sick were deprived of medicines. This brings me to the next allegation about shrinking democracy space in this country. Ladies and gentlemen, a few years ago, we as the opposition would not be able to hold a press conference in this manner in peace. Look, I'm opposition. Look at the environment in which I'm addressing you, the members of the press. Fresh air, nice air code. Nobody, no cadres coming to say to Chipani. We don't have even in Peta. Even in my insecurity, there is nobody who is in Peta the compass with a big shoe. Even alliances of political parties would not hold press conferences or be able to assemble freely. Like we saw, I am a witness that in a democratic space where we can gather like this without any cadres threatening anyone or denial of permission to gather like this, it is a fallacy to complain. We should be clapping instead. Dear colleagues, I'm also disappointed with some leaders propagating the secession of Barosland, yet seeking to get the pinnacle of the country's leadership. Recently, we saw the resignation of some individual on what he claimed were remarks attributed to the president, that there was no country called Barosland. Although I was very reluctant to comment on this matter, but let me bring to the fore some information I've come across. There are some divisive elements alleged, led by some individuals from some alliance, financing activities aimed at destabilizing the country. I'll repeat this. There are some divisive elements allegedly led by some individual from some alliance, financing activities at destabilizing this country. These elements even funded that individual to put up a performance as he was kept at a named lodge in Lusaka and arranged for transport to be transported to Western Province around 04. We are aware. We don't want to start bringing pictures and videos. We are aware. I hereby call for introspection among those who purport to be national leaders to take into account the collective responsibility of our founding fathers in opting to focus and channel their energies towards uniting this country. Over the years, Zambia have intermarried. We now have names such as my older brother, Mr. Fred Namakando Membe, Nyambe Mulenga, Likando Chero, Mwila Tembo, Nambaya Akapewa, etc. Or I can even add the children of the second family from our honored Vice President, her honor, Mrs. Mutale Witkala Lomang. How will their children be called? So where we will take these people and what we will tell them? Honestly, Zambia deserves better than leaders with the sole purpose of dividing the country. I want to state that Zambia is a unitary state and should remain so forever and ever. Furthermore, I would like to welcome the proposal by the government for dialogue with the Barroso Royal establishment. However, I have to render an advice as leader of opposition in parliament that when you opt to reach out to each other for purposes of amicably resolving emotive issues, it is not a sign of weakness for either side, because when you dialogue, the truth reigns supreme, and even agreements become truthful and genuine. I have also noted with concern the unbecoming behavior of one former ambassador to South Africa and Ethiopia, who is in the habit of leaking confidential government documents on social media with impunity. The position is so dignified. You know, when you are called an ambassador, when you are called the honorable, there is a way you need to behave. You need to behave honorably. You need to behave as a diplomat. The statements made by him are perplexing and unbefitting for a former ambassador. Most of his statements and actions leave me wondering where law enforcement agencies are in dealing with such an individual, and how is allowed to freely roam the streets of Lusaka. Kama mwenye dono ni democracy. Dear democracy really. Even when they are on bond, they are talking carelessly. Even when they are on bail, they are talking carelessly. They always forget that anytime the bail can be revoked, anytime the bond can be revoked. On the economic front, we have noticed with concern the depreciation of the kwacha against the US dollar and other currencies, which has raised the price of fuel, and the cost of living is quite high. However, we have also noted government's efforts and finding alternative sources to mitigate the kwacha's downward trajectory in the recent past, and this we witnessed on Thursday and Friday when the kwacha recovered by an estimated of 4 kwacha. I think that is commendable, and we only hope it does not stop there. As an opposition, we are ready to offer criticism, both positive and negative. We have noted the government's steps that are a foundation of Zambia's comeback and remain optimistic of the fruits to be reaped soon. We have noted, among others, some impressive projects in the mining sector, which includes 1. Mingomba cobalt metals has found Zambia's largest copper deposit in a century, estimating the site on the Copper Belt province, which will become one of the world's top 3 high-grade copper mines. This is a project backed by Bill Gates and Jeff Bezos. Initial investment is estimated at $2 billion. This is a joint venture with the ZCCM-IH. Number 2, Mopani International Resources Holdings will inject a total of $620 million into expanding copper production at Mopani. These are serious investors, not of jokers. The people in the mines, my relative with Chamboli, Usakire, Mufrida, it is coming, and it has come. This recapitalization will increase copper production from 72,694 tons produced in 2022 to 200,000 metric tons by 2025. Number 3, KCM. The data will inject $200 million every 5 years into KCM, taking the total investment of $1 billion. The target is to increase production from the current 70,000 tons to 200,000 tons of copper. And just a week ago, they have already injected $25 million for the suppliers, the creditors. That is happening in KCM. It's not a dream. It's not just politics. We need to thank where our colleagues are doing very fine. Not just politicking. and wasting our energies on uka. You can't even think properly. You wake up uka. I don't know whether it's uka or comedy. The fourth one is First Quantum Minerals is investing $1.3 billion in the expansion of copper production in Northwestern Province. Number 5, First Quantum Minerals again and Mimosa Resources have signed a revised Kashim Development Agreement, which is a joint commitment to fast-track the development of their Fashi Copper project in Mkushi. Once operational, an estimated 30,000 tons of copper will be produced per annum in Mkushi. Ina wada, my tribal cousin Lalas will be enjoying. Ina. Number 6, China Non-Ferrous Mining Corporation has committed to invest $200 million into Kasamba open cast mine in Ufanyama district. Also, the same CNMC has further committed to invest $500 million into expanding operations at NFCA mine in Chambishi, which will bring on board an additional 30,000 metric tons of copper per annum. Barrick Rumwana has committed to invest $2 billion into a new greenfield operation in Northwestern Province called Kamisengo. This is expected to produce 110,000 metric tons of copper per annum. Reactivation, number 9, reactivation of shaft 28 in one share, where $100 million will be spent on dewatering, on completion of dewatering. There will be an additional underground investment of $500 million, leading to estimated production of 70,000 tons per annum. Last week, my brother, a area member of parliament for Ron, was advising the Minister of Water Development, the water which will be pumped underground. The way we are saying we need to harvest water, they have been encouraged that please, can we harvest this water? Because this is clean water which will come from Russia copper mines. Number 9, or rather number 10, Zambia will soon start selling part of its copper directly and compete with global players. Number 11, the country will use satellite technology for mapping of mineral resources. Members of the press, we can all see that the president of the Republic of Zambia, Mr. Hakainde Hichilema, has a vision. He is steadfast and very focused for the benefit of this country. He has been running this country genuinely so. He has not pretended. He has not said no artificial. I note that in his address to the just ended annual African Mining Index in South Africa, through his representative, President Hichilema asserted that Zambia is positioning itself as a key copper supplier in meeting the surging demands, projecting a 9 million tons required annually. I am hereby duly bound to acknowledge that indeed President Hichilema is a visionary and he is futuristic about this country, in that he continues to offer clarity to his administration's policies. It is therefore delusional to claim or entertain the thought that ordinary citizens are crying for the return of President Edgar Chagwa because the people are well aware of the economic quagmire that the country was in. The New Dawn administration still has an opportunity to achieve what they pledged to the people of fixing the economy, and we are here to offer effective criticism for the benefit of the Zambians. Although President Hichilema's efforts to resuscitate the sick economy are medium and long term, let me state that even when his government inherited huge and unsustainable debt coupled with interest arrears in billions of dollars, shrinking GDP, high inflation rate, and sustainable exchange rate, high unemployment levels, and stunted growth of the economy, the man has been implementing remedial measures to avert the economy from total collapse. This you can see. He has been very consistent. employing civil servants each and every year. Each and every year. Ask the ministries, they are receiving grants each and every year. Each and every month. There is no ministry that is complaining. Ask even now in the councils. Those councils used to be have strikes and down tools. Now there's the smooth kind of operation. Everywhere you go, you see there is a project. You go to Mafinga, each and every one, you find one project happening. Why? Because of good policies and the CDF. His administration embarked on debt restructuring process. And all of us must admit of the visible progress made so far. Media colleagues, let me talk a bit about the agriculture sector. We have a huge market for maize within Zambia and neighboring countries. Some are offering as high as 500 kwacha per 50 kg bag of maize. We are aware that the Zambian government around 2019 signed a memorandum of understanding with the Congolese government for maize and meal trade between the two countries. Zambia has raked in substantial amounts of money into state coffers, and like during the previous administration, our administration as the PF. Such deals were a preserve of the politically exposed individuals with the file and rank of the ruling party. Or either you must have a connection at the State House, then you get the deal. It is for this reason that we support the president's clarion call for an agricultural revolution to the young people to invest in the sector despite their level of income, rather than occupying themselves with buying lavish cars such as Rolls Royce, VXR, Land Cruiser, as I will borrow from my president, that when you do 4.5 liters has gone. No. I have noted that this was misinterpreted, especially by us in the opposition political parties, for our selfish gains. However, what the message was there is an encouragement to young people to go back to the land and realize the potential farming has in alleviating the lives of Zambians and its potential to turn around the economy of this country. Not you wake up in the morning thinking, which bread are you going to sell? Which person are you going to go in the morning with a long shoe and go to the gym? Now gyms have no market. There are only a few for us who are diabetic and wants to keep fit. But that time everyone was on a gym. Even markets, you can't find them. At town center, they were all over markets. They were the fast moving arrangement. Now you have to ask the people at town center. Markets. Because where are we going to use them to? Nothing. Additionally, in the recent past, we have witnessed the government advertising the recruitment of extension officers in attempt to increase productivity. Personal and national development require that we make smart choices. It requires mindset change. Just maybe. The comprehensive agriculture transformation program is currently in motion to look at all aspects and not just focusing on inputs. This includes planning inputs, support, extension, access to credit, production, post-harvest management, processing, and marketing. Banks, for the first time. Even you journalists, you can walk to these banks, you go and get, as long as you have a small farm, you can go and get a loan. And you'll be given. As long as you don't self-fertilize. Where? Sometimes we should not just be politicking. No ways. Government is further supporting the Zambia National Service and the Zambia Correctional Service to expand the agricultural production projects and add to the national GDP. In the energy sector, government has upgraded Tazama pipeline into transporter of finished products, representing about 60% reduction in transportation cost. This, we note, will make money available sectors that are strained. They have also signed an MOU with Namibia to develop a pipeline from Wabis Bay to Zambia, in which similar prospects are underway with Mozambique in Beira. As I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, countrymen and women, Allow me to say without shame that the current existing opposition, apart from others, is devoid of alternatives to the UPND's free education, students' meal allowances, reinstatements, debt restructuring, revamping of mines, legacy CDF projects, ongoing recruitments, salary increments of our councillors throughout the country, market access agreements, unit of purpose, a clear framework for debt management and budget credibility. President Hichilema has taught a politician like me that you can practice politics with integrity. President Hichilema has taught a politician like me that you can practice politics with integrity, focus and humility. Focus and humility. And I'm here to pledge that we are ready to offer criticism, offer alternatives to common problems for the benefit of the Zambian people. We will be a shadow government. Myself as leader of opposition, president of the Patriotic Front, Mr. Emmanuel or Miles Sampa, will be a shadow government for the good governance of Mother Zambia. We will be a shadow government for the good governance of Mother Zambia. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you. Msitotelako na imwe. Nimewauka.
A big round of applause for the leader of the opposition there, Honorable Chabinga. We can do better. We can do better. Certainly. Okay. Thank you very much. Now, members of the media and invited guests, we will allow 3 questions coming from you. 3 questions, you raise your hand, you come where you are, then you ask your question. Do you have any questions? Do you have any questions, members of the press? Okay, some of the highlights of the press briefing by the Honorable Member from Chabinga constituency and also the leader of opposition. He talked about the Mukula tree. He also talked about former President Edgar Lungu coming back to active politics and being a member of the United Quarter Alliance, or KUKA. He also talked about stopping an impeachment motion during the reign of former President Edgar Lungu. He also talked about PF talents or cadres in the previous regime. He also Mr. Edgar Lungu. He also talked about police brutality, gassing incidents, events that took place in Kabwe during the 2015 PF elections. Presidential fees as well was one of the items that he highlighted. Contribution to the party of the sum of 200,000 kwacha. He also talked about that. And also he cautioned newcomers in Parliament to be cautious of the old members of Parliament who have built or allegedly have mansions overseas with fat bank accounts. He also spoke to the issues of shrinking democratic space. Members of the media were invited now to ask your questions. 3 questions will be allowed from 3 members from the media. Do we have any? Okay, seems like the leader of opposition and Mafinga Member of Parliament, everything that he said has sunk into us who are present here. Thank you so much for being attentive. With your permission, I will allow the leader of opposition to now take lead.
Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for coming, all of you. I just say, may God bless you. And let's be interacting. We'll be interacting. I'm available as a leader of opposition. Now it's 2024. You expect more of us. Thank you so much.
Okay, we can be upstanding. Let's be upstanding as the leader of opposition leaves us. Thank you so much. We are now saying goodbye to those that joined